on behalf of the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight. Welcome to So You Want to Be the Chief, a podcast for leaders.
Well, I am so grateful today to have my brother whom I've not met physically, but I've known online, which is a pretty cool thing to be able to do that for several years. He is Chief Master Sergeant Ray Garcia, who is from, I think, Texas, right?
Originally from Texas, yes.
So you're a Cowboys fan?
No.
Chief, come on, man. This is America's team. Come on. Look, check this out. Come on. Don't tell me you're a Houston fan.
No, I don't have a preferred team.
Oh, is that right? Well, then you can adopt the Cowboys because we all should. At least the next season. Well, maybe not. You never know. Anyway, Chief, thank you for being on the program, and thanks for connecting because this is the first time that we've ever connected. So, but I know you've done a lot of great stuff. How long have you been in the Air Force?
November was 26 years, so coming up on about 26 and a half.
Okay. And how long have you been a chief?
The March was 4 years. March 1st.
So fairly young. And the chiefs whom I've interviewed the last I guess 8 lessons are all, I call you guys young lions because you're fairly young, but have enough experience that you can pass on to the young ones that just putting it on. I remember putting it on, man. It was a great day. And I think I saw you putting it on Facebook somewhere or social media or something.
Yeah, that was me sharing my 4-year anniversary. And so every time that pops up, goes back to the lesson, right? I'm just grateful for even having the opportunity to serve in this capacity.
Yeah. And it is great, isn't it, Chief? I mean, there's nothing like it. We may think that it's a great title, but at least in my perspective, and probably yours too, it's just a great opportunity to be able to take care of people, more people. Like when you say this is Chief Garcia, this is Chief Vasquez, all of a sudden, oh yes sir, yes sir, but whatever you need, we'll take care of. So in fact, I'm still doing it. Not long ago, I had a youngster because I taught at the academy for about almost 20 years. And I had a lieutenant was complaining about not getting his household goods. And I said, give me your name and your address and let me see what I can do. And I'm not on, I've been retired for 20 years. And I made some phone calls and they delivered the next day. I thought that's what being a chief is all about. And I think it's gratifying. So, and what career field are you in?
I'm in the cyber career field.
Okay. So that means computers and electronic stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Computers, hardware, software, anything that's communications or cyber related. I've been doing that for about 26 years.
Okay. Now, is there a difference, Chief, between what you do and what Space does, Space Force? Because that's kind of similar, isn't it, or not?
A little bit. I mean, a good majority of their communications professionals or their cyber professionals came over from the Air Force, and so they have folks that take care of their systems and all that other stuff, but not to the level of detail that say the folks in my unit are doing because infrastructure is already there. And so they don't need as many people from what I've seen.
So you still are you're partnering with them. You all take care of each other. You take care of them more than they take care of you, probably.
Yeah, if we had some guardians on the installation wherever we're at, and so fortunately, I'm at Eglin, and there is a Space Force unit down the street from us, and so we provide them their comm capabilities and respond to all their tickets that they need resolution on. So we do support the Space Force.
Yeah. And have you done that your whole career?
No.
What'd you do before?
In terms of where I'm currently at, or?
Well, throughout your Air Force career.
Throughout my Air Force career, I've been tactical or expeditionary a good majority of my career. I had some time at the 2 staff jobs. But I have never been in a traditional comm squadron up until this assignment here. So for 24 years-ish, I've been all expeditionary. And so I didn't grow up in the community that I'm currently in right now. Although I say I'm cyber, I'm still learning every day in terms of what those cyber airmen do. Yeah. So it's been a learning experience coming here and doing the job for the past almost 2 years now.
Yeah. And you know, Chief, we used to say in my day, you all probably do the same thing. Every generation of airman guardian that we get is smarter. I could never do the things that these youngsters do. Although I try, you know, I try to be a techie, and as soon as I do that, I fail. So I should quit, but I'm not going to. But uh, I find huge gratitude in that. You know, some people don't like that. These young whippersnappers. That's an old folks term. You probably don't use that term, but they are so good, man. They are smart. They're energetic. They want to do as much as we did, I guess, when we were young. We just forget about that. But wow, what a great thing, I think, to be grateful for that these youngsters are still, and especially right now, because I think we're having some trouble recruiting folks. I'm grateful to see those young airmen. I just came in from El Paso, and I flew with a few airmen, and it's great to see those youngsters with that 1 or 2 stripes. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Kind of takes me back a little bit, what little I remember.
Oh yeah, they are extremely smart, smarter probably than I've ever been, and tell them every day, right? We can't do the job without their innovation or their technical abilities or just how smart they are because they think outside the box, right? And so being in so long, you kind of get confined to the box a little bit, but I mean, with their thoughts and how they grew up and the technology that they grew up in, it is amazing to see them do what they do every single day. So
Yep, it
yeah,
is.
I'm grateful for being around those smart young ones, like you said, whippersnappers. Uh,
I taught you a new word. All your young airmen will be on Google. What the heck does that? What is he calling us a name? And as you said, Chief, the lesson is number 9, and it's gratitude is everything. What are you grateful for on a daily basis, Chief?
I'm grateful for my family first and foremost, right? I wouldn't be here without their support and their love, right? And so every decision that impacts the family, right, it's not to be taken lightly, and just grateful to have them in my corner and supporting me.
And you know, we sign up for this. You know, actually, literally, we did. We signed a contract saying, "I'm willing to do all of this stuff, this crazy stuff that I never imagined I would do back in San Antonio." But the families don't, you know, and they don't. Sometimes they don't, especially the young ones, don't realize what they just got themselves into. And especially like I was just gone in New Mexico when we had the biggest storm we've had in a couple of years here in Colorado, and I'm grateful that my neighbors were around, but I'm also grateful that my wife was willing to support me because I needed to go see my mom. And, you know, that's part of the family, the mom and the sisters and all that. But yeah, our nuclear family they're always there if we're lucky. You know, it doesn't always work out that way, but if we're lucky, we have our family there. And family, Chief, is kind of a, you know, you're Chicano, I think, right? From
Yes,
Texas.
sir.
So family can be huge, extended family. And in our Air Force, when I was at the Air Force Academy, I used to tell the brand new or about to graduate lieutenants that family keeps getting bigger. You know, no matter where I go, I have family. I usually owe them money though. You know how that is.
Oh yeah, I usually right now I was recently on a TDY and was spending some time with my aunt that I really never spent that the time that I have recently with her. It was always just seeing in passing or for maybe 20 or 30 minutes at a time. But being able to go back this past time to San Antonio was extremely uh, I'm extremely grateful for having that opportunity to spend those couple of weekends with my aunt because I've never spent that time with her before like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And especially, this is not just for chiefs, anyone that serves in the military, take the time, make the
mhm.
time, because God forbid, but you know, we're all on our way out, and then you lose that opportunity, and you'll be forever. You'll be wishing that you had the time to do what you just did. So good on you for doing that. And as the purpose of this podcast is to help the especially the young chiefs who are just coming on board. Uh, what they should be gratified for, grateful for. I think it's the people. We talked about that a little bit. Those airmen, uh, Without them, we don't do anything, man. You may be the smartest comm guy in the world, Chief, but you ain't gonna get that done without those. And there's a term, I think, for comm guys. I don't know what it is, but they got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep.
And you can always thank them by bringing them donuts. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the cops. I get you guys mixed up.
None of my folks will turn down free food. If there's some free food in the break room and they're rushing to the break room to grab it, and you can see the smiles on their faces, and just, I mean, they're thankful for just even somebody just even thinking about them, right?
Yeah.
Or even going into their office and just a couple of minutes in their office, disrupting their day-to-day work and just seeing how they're doing, right? You can just see them light up and just say, holy crap, like he actually got out of the office, or walked around, or just caught me in the hallway and just said thank you, so
Yeah.
those small little interactions, you can just see it on their faces.
Yeah. And although you use the word small, Chief, that's huge. And at least in my perspective, when I was on active duty, even at the Air Force Academy, I had it on my schedule at 9 o'clock, 0900, and I have an Apple Watch. There's an app for that, and it told me 9 o'clock, go hang out with the airmen, with the cadets. And what's interesting is that I remember having a conversation with some graduates who, when I came up to talk to them, they said, "Do you remember Chief?" "Oh yeah, he used to go to the library at 9 o'clock." And I thought, wow, they remember what time I was there. I just happened to put it on my calendar at that time and go down there at that time, but I didn't know that they realized what time it was. So they'd sit around and kind of wait for me, which is, I think, is important. So when you show gratitude, make it intentional.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess part of it has to do with how to share that, how to share that you're grateful. Yeah, like we're messing around with food for one thing, for sure, but there are other ways to show your gratitude to your airmen. What do you do? What other things do you do other than just showing up to be with them?
Just asking them how their day is, see what they did on the weekends. I'm kind of known in my unit right now to walk around with the Nerf gun, and start just walking into office, and just some offices play, some offices don't, and so just being able to go into those offices and be one of them, and they don't see as right, as a chief, right, and he's always just so very serious. To get them, to try to show them a different side, that it's not all business. Sometimes, I would say sometimes you should have fun at work. And so, right, I think they're grateful for seeing that, hey, I'm just not just a person with all these stripes on my chest, right? That, hey, he's a person just like us, and he likes to have fun. So I think they're grateful for me interacting with them in that sense.
Yeah. And sometimes I think, I remember being an airman, I never thought about my chiefs that I served with having a family, of them being human, but we are. Just
Yeah.
like everybody else, we have a family, and sometimes our families are not, they're ill, or something's happening in our family that affects us. We're just people like everybody else. We just happen to have a lot more responsibility, I suppose. So
Yeah.
one of the things that's in the book that I mentioned in the book is our gratitude for our country. I'm doing that a lot lately, going off and speaking to especially civilian groups, and most of them are pretty good about accepting that I'm grateful for my country. Some of them, they start complaining. Well, yeah, what about? Well, I've lived in a lot of countries, and I've visited a lot of countries, and there's no place like this place anywhere near this place. This is
Oh
a
yeah.
place.
Yep. Like you said, there's a lot of freedoms that we take for granted, and they don't really see it until it starts getting taken away. So um, getting them to understand like the things that they have, and in some of the day-to-day conversations, and sitting them down, and having an honest conversation with them, right, and not trying to hide anything, but giving them the full spectrum of their options, gets them to be grateful, right, because in my opinion, it allows them to see that we've kind of thought through everything, and that we actually care about them, and so being there to support them 100% with whatever they're going through, I think for my opinion, allows them to see that, right, or they are grateful that we've actually spent the time to really understand what they got going on, and that we're here to support them.
There are some, there's everybody has an opinion, and that's fine. But I know some people who say when you show them that you care, that's too touchy-feely. Do you agree with that?
Some of it can be. But showing them that they care means that, right, that you're not just by the book or in black and white, right? Showing them that you care means that you're trying to relate to them on a different level, more of a personable level, and they're not just another statistic, or they're just not another airman, right? They're actually airman so and so, or whatever their first name is, right? Their first name, last name, whatever it is. But so getting them to see that, hey, this person is actually taking an hour or 2 hours, depending on whatever the conversation needs to be, right? This person's investing that time into me, and is really there to support me. They may not like it, because you're going to tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. But at the end of the day, they're probably going to be appreciative and grateful for the fact that you gave them the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's not just a canned answer, or don't mess up because here's what's going to happen, right? Things like that. So,
I think that builds trust, doesn't it? That that you are willing to do the good, the bad, the ugly, if that whatever's happening, because it's not always one. It's not always good. It's not always bad. It's not always ugly. But if you're willing to give them that, I guess I'll call it a balanced view of it, I think they'll trust you more than that she comes in and he's always saying it's great when I know it's not, because I don't even have the tools and I can't do the job, but he still thinks it's great. I don't know that would build distrust, but it's not as trustworthy as, hey man, we got problems, but we're working on it. I'm working on it for you. We do have problems. We know that. It's kind of like being grateful for our country. We got problems. We do.
Yep.
And then the best thing we can do is try to work it out so that we all live in our own worlds. Well, in my world, it's not so bad because I'm doing my best to make it better, and that's all we can do. But again, I think that might help in building trust, is to be. Indeed, I do, Chief. I'm an old guy, but I still appreciate when people care.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different ways. Other than, like I was getting to, is I really appreciate it when they know how I care, my values, like being a Cowboys fan. Now that you've become a Cowboys fan, hey, we got a connection, brother. Anything you need a kidney, man, just call me, because it's got a star on it.
Next year is their year, right?
Shut up. We've been saying that for 30 years since Landry left. So it's we'll keep trying. One of the things that when I like to have this conversation, especially with honest people. What about our bosses? Should we be grateful for our bosses?
Absolutely.
Well, wait a minute. You haven't worked for the bosses I've worked for.
I absolutely, right. Yes, we should be grateful for our bosses, whether they're good or they're bad. We learn from them. And so, right, just like every other person, they probably I've had my fair share of some terrible bosses, or some bad interactions with from some supervisors along the way. And it's a learning opportunity for how not to be that person, in my opinion. And so every interaction that I've had, whether it's good or bad, it's always the key takeaway is okay, that's how that made me feel. Now, if I acted that same way towards an individual, how would it make them feel, right? Do I want them feeling the same thing that I'm feeling? And so those bad interactions with those not so good supervisors or leaders is always a good learning opportunity, and how to be better. And so I'm grateful for the supervisors that weren't always in my corner, because I don't want an airman to ever have to feel the same way that I felt when I didn't feel like somebody was in my corner.
Yeah. Growing up, this is 100 years ago, one of my mentors, Chief Gwaltney, told me that if you want to be a chief, you have to be willing to get your butt chewed at least once a week. And what he meant was you got to tell the boss the truth. You know, regardless of whether good, bad, or ugly, you got to tell him or her the truth, because they need to hear it. And the same thing, Chief. I've worked with some great. I've worked with the best, and I worked with the worst, and especially the best ones. Always within 5 minutes of them hiring me, or however we got assigned together, they would tell me, Chief, your job is to keep me out of trouble. You tell me when I'm about to do something stupid or when I just did, so I can fix it. And most of them were pretty good about that. You know, they wanted my help because they realized that they didn't see the things that I saw, and that made them pretty smart. And in many ways easier to work with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having those kinds of bosses is extremely satisfying, right? Because having the ability to be open, honest, and transparent with your boss, and having some discussions or some dialogue, right? Because I grew up a certain way, they grew up a certain way. My experiences are different, their experiences are different. And so, right, we've all got blinders, and just being able to have that conversation gets us to see different things and hear different thought perspectives. And so, I've been fortunate enough to have a good majority of my bosses like that, to where let's have the conversation. Um, and not have to worry about, man, am I really going to make them upset, or am I going to, right, am I going to piss them off, because that's not what they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Um,
I
they
work.
need they need to hear the bad, right?
Yeah,
They
of
also need to
course.
hear the good.
Yeah, and they
So,
really need to. They really need to hear the bad.
oh yeah. And at the end of the day, right? Grateful for the opportunity to have that conversation, and that way we can see all the different differences of opinions, and then give the best recommendation, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do, is give the best recommendation with all the information that we have, and we move on out with whatever the decision is. And so, as long as, in my opinion, that we can have a conversation about the disagreements, then our job is, I think we did the job.
Yeah, and somewhere along the line, Chief, I think we've kind of lost that, because I see so many senior leaders, and it doesn't have to be a chief, but in particular chiefs, that are afraid to have those conversations. What do they call them? Tough conversations, tough talk. Well, if you don't have them, all of you are going to sink. I remember I worked for a colonel whose dad was a retired senior master sergeant, so he knew the enlisted people pretty well. And I remember him saying that the worst thing that can happen to a commander is when his chief stops talking to him. And I understood, you're right, sir, because if I'm not telling you stuff, if I'm not good, and especially the bad, you're dead, man, because you won't know what's going on.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
absolutely.
takes guts sometimes. You know, I didn't want to go in there and say, hey, boss, you're about to screw up. That was not an easy conversation, but somebody had to do it, or else, again, we all fail.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, the last, at least from my perspective, Chief, the last thing we should be gratified by, or grateful for, is ourselves. Sometimes, and I'm seeing this a lot on social media right now, identity. I don't know how to get. I'm writing a book as we speak on developing your identity, really discovering it, because I think it's there already. But I'm afraid of myself. I'm not who, I don't know who I am, and all of those things. And we call it resilience, I think, right? Those 4 pillars: physical,
Mhm.
mental, emotional, and spiritual. Uh, don't we have to take care of ourselves first?
We do. And it's difficult sometimes for us to focus on ourselves, right? Because we do have a lot of responsibility to others, but if we don't take care of ourselves, then how can we take care of others? And I'll be the first to say that I'm not the best at taking care of myself. So
So you need a mentor. I can mentor you, man. I'll slap you upside the head.
you you start playing some Cowboys clips, and then I'll find a different thing to
Oh man, that hurt. But we just met, so anyway.
do.
Well, and speaking of though, Chief, there's a lot of value in having mentors, coaches, personal coaches, and accountability partners. Someone who
Mhm.
will make you do it, and in many respects, that's our spouse. At least with me, she says, "Hey, did you work out today? Nah, get on the treadmill." And okay, So that's how I stay ruggedly handsome. I know this whole time you've been wondering, how do you stay ruggedly handsome, Chief, as old as you are? I just had a birthday yesterday, by the way. But
Oh, happy birthday.
thank you. I won't tell you how old, but it's an anniversary of my 50th. Somehow that works out. But yeah, those, having someone to tell you, Chief Dave Campanelli, I don't know if you remember him, Chief of Master Air Force number 11. Always the first advice he ever gave me when I became a senior enlisted advisor was find someone to talk to. You need someone to talk to, and it's not Deb's, not the wife, because that's different. There's the business part. And I found Jimmy Thies. He's now retired chief, but sometimes we just need someone, not necessarily to fix anything, but just to talk to. Even a chief needs that. And back in the day, we used to have several, the chiefs took care of each other. I'm not sure that it happens anymore. Do you have a mentor, a chief mentor, someone, an accountability partner?
There's a small handful of folks that, right, I tend to vent to, and it's like you said, it's just to air things out and get it off your chest, right? Because you don't want that thing, whatever problem it is, just kind of brewing. And so I'll tend to hold it in for a couple of days, and then whenever I get around whatever individual that I trust, I'll just let it all out.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell me the bad and be like, all right, that's great, but you done, and then we get back to it. So,
yeah. Well, interestingly,
yeah,
Dave taught me that, the answer is get over it. A lot of times it's just get over it. If you can't fix it, just get over it, and that may seem silly, but it really is, because sometimes we dwell on stupid stuff that we shouldn't dwell on. Get over it. And the worst thing, Chief, is for two chiefs to fight each other in front of others.
Oh, absolutely. There's two chiefs arguing back and forth doesn't do anybody any good. So especially with the things that we can't control, right? And so yeah, we can get frustrated with a lot of processes and all this other stuff, but only thing we can kind of continue to do is to continue to fight that, and on behalf of our folks, because long run it may change, and then that you've done everything that you can at the end of the day for your folks.
Yeah, and you got to live with yourself. So
yeah,
get over it.
Yeah, my accountability right now is my wife is like, hey, you need to get out of the office and go to the gym during the day, which I haven't been good in the past probably 2 years or so, because I haven't made it a priority. So I'm trying to get better at that, because every now and then she's like, hey, you need to go to the gym, or did you go? So things like that. So
yeah,
right now I'm thankful and grateful for my wife, just right seeing that I need a little extra push.
Well, I'll partner with her and start yelling at you every morning. Okay, you'll get tired of me. You'll probably throw me off of Facebook. But hey, did you work out? But let me tell you, and I'm not going to give you the secret, Chief. But to be ruggedly handsome, man, is not a natural process. Okay, it sucks, man. It's just a lot of work. But I can help you with that. Okay, and you probably won't get there, but close enough. Got couple minutes left, Chief. What's your best advice for a new chief coming on board, putting their stripe on just in the last month or so, on gratitude? What can you tell them to focus on?
Just be thankful for the opportunity to be in the position that you're in, because not a lot of people get this, and so it's not to be taken lightly, because right, like you said, picking up the phone or sending an email and saying, hey, I'm Chief so-and-so, carries a lot of weight, right? And it's not to be used for personal gain. It's to be used on behalf of your airmen. So when I in process my folks, I tell them that these stripes are not my stripes, and I'll tell all the other soon-to-be chiefs, right? These stripes are not their stripes. These stripes are those airmen in your organization stripes, and every airman around you. That's their stripes. That's what you're representing, and you're speaking on behalf of them. So, right, don't take it lightly, and it is a huge, huge responsibility to put on those stripes every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always tell people I try not to take myself too seriously, but my work is serious, whatever that may be. So, what's in the future for you, Chief? You're staying for a little while longer. You got a few years to go before you start making chief pay.
Yeah, actually, so I just got hired on to be the mission support group senior enlisted leader here at Eglin. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity to continue to serve and lead at a little bit higher level, and hopefully make an impact to a lot more airmen here and in
Well,
the Air Force.
well, good luck to you. And, you know, I'm always around if you ever need anything, other than every morning yelling at you for not working out or, or sending you a high five for working out. God bless you, man. And take care of your family. I see you all on Facebook and you got a beautiful family, and they will grow so quickly, man. I always tell you, people your age, don't blink. Because before you know it, BMW will be coming in, and that happens.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for all your leadership over the all your leadership over your career, and even after your career as a chief. So appreciate everything that you've done as well.
Well, it's an honor to serve with you, brother. And I look
Thank you
forward
very much.
to meeting you someday on the beach somewhere, having a piña colada or whatever his Cowboys fans have.
Yep. Well, no, if you ever come down to the Panhandle of Florida, let me know, and we'll go get those pina coladas.
All right. Sounds good. God bless you, man.
You as well.
And thank you for being on the show.
Yep.